Something is wrong with reality. Not in a vague, philosophical way, but in a precise, almost mechanical way. There are limits that don't make sense. A maximum speed, a smallest possible unit of space, a universe that only seems to exist when you look at it. It's almost like something is conserving resources, as if it's rendering only what's necessary. And if that sounds insane, consider this. In 2003, a philosopher named Nick Bostrom quietly proposed a dangerous idea that if any civilization becomes advanced enough, it could simulate entire universes with conscious beings inside them who think they're real. And if even one civilization reaches that point, there wouldn't be just one reality. There would be countless copies. And statistically, this, right here, this reality, is almost certainly one of them. Elon Musk says that the odds we're living in a base reality might be 1 in billions. But the idea didn't start in Silicon Valley. Ancient philosophers questioned it, modern physics hints at it, and pop culture has been trying to warn us about it for decades. But the question goes beyond, are we inside a simulation? It's, if the world isn't real, then what is? And more importantly, who's running it? Join me as we unravel all this and much more and enter the Codex Legendarium. I'm Shelby Melanson. It's the year 2003. A paper just got published in the 211th issue, 53rd volume of the Philosophical Quarterly Journal. And its title is shocking people worldwide, including some of the globe's top scholars, into questioning their very nature of existence. That title is, Are You Living in a Computer Simulation? Now, I know what you're thinking. The Matrix came out 4 years before that in 1999. Obviously, somebody just took the idea of getting a little red-pilled too seriously. But that's not the whole story. As it turns out, someone else was pondering that question hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, far before computers were ever a thing, and you definitely know his name. And besides capturing our imaginations through stories and script writing ever since then, some of the greatest minds are throwing their weight behind the idea and saying that the probability of it is anything from 50-50, okay fine, 50.222 repeating to 49.7778, to almost certain. And on top of that, one scientist says he has proof, and another has a theory on what's outside the simulation. Let's get into it. And heads up, this video is just part 1. I found so much stuff I wanted to share with you guys that I couldn't fit it all into just one episode. So, without further ado, the mind behind that original 2003 paper is Nick Bostrom, a philosopher and Oxford professor nicknamed the Swedish Superbrain for his work on superintelligence and existential risk. And trust me, the term existential crisis has got nothing on this guy's work. His paper, which has since been dubbed simulation theory, presents an interesting kind of trilemma, based on the fact that computers are becoming more and more advanced very quickly. Let me just read you the paper's intro. Quote, "This paper argues that at least one of the following propositions is true. 1. The human species is very likely to go extinct before reaching a post-human stage. 2. Any post-human civilization is extremely unlikely to run a significant number of simulations of their evolutionary history or variations thereof. And 3. We are almost certainly living in a computer simulation." In short, we'll either find a way to collectively kick the bucket before we become technologically advanced enough to run our own large-scale simulations that are basically indistinguishable from reality, or, chances are, we're already in one. With the other possibility being, if an advanced civilization did survive long enough to develop that level of advanced computer science, they just wouldn't be interested in simulating the past, their ancestors / their life there. Why is that? Well, think about it. The kind of simulation we're talking about would be one that encompasses everything that we know and have ever seen. All 8 billion individual human beings with unique lives, personalities, and social relationships. Every last one of the estimated 20 quintillion living animals and insects on Earth. Plus, who knows how many individual plants across the currently estimated 400,000 different species. On top of that, we humans are seriously curious creatures. And once we learn how to do something, it's not long before we start mass producing it, or doing it en masse in order to learn more about it. So, it reasons that if we were able to run a simulation on that level, we probably wouldn't be running just one of them. And if you run enough of them, the number of minds inside simulations could and probably would quickly outnumber the minds that aren't. Here's the thing, Bostrom isn't the only one who thinks so. During the 2016 Code conference, Elon Musk joked about how he questioned whether or not we're inside a simulation a lot. Apparently, this is a frequent shower or rather hot tub thought for him. The interview was super funny. As for what he called the strongest argument for that case, he described how 40 years ago we had the video game Pong, which had 2 triangles and a dot. Jump forward to today, we have, quote, photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And keep in mind, this was in 2016, a decade ago. He went on to say that if you assume any rate of improvement at all, aka that we'll continue building more powerful computers, or even if our ability to improve dropped, games would become indistinguishable from reality, no matter what. Even if it takes 10,000 years, which he pointed out as, quote, nothing on the evolutionary scale. And going by that logic,
I seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
He even takes it a step further, arguing that living inside a simulation might actually be a good thing compared to being in a base reality.
Arguably, we should hope that that's true, because otherwise, if civilization stops advancing, then that may be due to some calamitous event that erases civilization.
And it's not just Musk. Astrophysicist and director of the Hayden Planetarium, Neil deGrasse Tyson, is seemingly on the same page.
Chuck, I've been public on the fact that I'm waiting for someone to convince me that we don't live in a simulation.
I've heard you say it.
The arguments put forth have been quite convincing. And then they make a world all the way on down.
Right.
It could be hundreds, thousands, billions, infinite.
All right, so far this sounds like it still works.
That's fine. So now close your eyes, throw a dart. Which of these universes are you going to land in? The first one that's real, or the gazillion that are not? There's 1 in a zillion, you're the real universe, and 999 bazillion to 1
that's your simulation.
That convinced me.
Meanwhile, philosopher and cognitive scientist David Chalmers argues for an even faster timeline. In his 544-page essay on the subject, he predicts, quote, my guess is that within a century, we will have virtual realities that are indistinguishable from the non-virtual world. But here's where his take gets really interesting. I think it's safe to say that most people would agree that with the idea of a simulation, whatever is outside the sim is real and whatever is inside is fake, because it's a constructed reality rather than a natural one. But Chalmers argues that virtual reality is, in fact, a kind of genuine reality. Here's why. Virtual and non-virtual objects are obviously different. However, in the same way a physical chair is made up of atoms and molecules, a digital chair is made up of something too, ones and zeros. He writes, simulations are not illusions. Virtual worlds are real. Virtual objects are real. By that same logic, what happens in the virtual world really does happen, because there is something there to experience it. And according to Chalmers, we're likely already inside one. Quote, we can never prove we're not in a computer simulation, because any evidence of ordinary reality could be simulated. Okay, so how does the real life that we know compare to the possible reality of living inside a computer program? what are the telltale signs that might give it away? Here's where things like physics and space-time itself start looking a little strange. Let's start simple. Computers have a certain amount of computing power. That means certain parameters have to be built into software in order for it to run without overloading the processor, or CPU. Okay, so what are the parameters of our universe as we know it? For one, the laws of physics, which describe how objects with mass behave in the world. And gravity is the most obvious one here, of course. And according to physicist Melvin Vopson at the University of Portsmouth in the UK, gravity might just be the best possible evidence that we really are inside a sim. His reasoning? Gravity helps keep the way things behave in space orderly, or in physics terms, low entropy. The less chaotic something is, the lower entropy it has, and the easier it is for its data to be communicated, either in our reality or inside a simulated computer system. Vopson followed that idea up with something he calls the second law of information dynamics. I'll spare you the in-depth quantum physics explanation here. Suffice to say, he says the principle, quote, requires information entropy to decrease. It requires less computational power and less data storage. Put more simply, he says the universe has built-in data optimization and compression, highlighting a distinctly digital kind of nature. Okay, so that's gravity. What other parameters are we dealing with here? Next up, according to Einstein's theory of special relativity, no known object with mass, or that carries information, i.e. data, can travel faster than the speed of light. Okay. Now, science says there might be exceptions to that, like the expansion of space itself at the moment the universe was created, and things like quantum entanglement, where two particles are separated by distance but are still inexplicably linked and can transfer information between them instantly. But I digress. The next parameter is measurement. The smallest measurable physical distance is called Planck's length. Any smaller than that, and physics basically just breaks down. Likewise, Planck's time is the shortest measurable amount of time. Those measurements come from something called Planck's constant, a concept in math that defines the nature of energy down in the quantum realm. Basically, this is something so small that it proves energy itself is made up of individual units, called quanta, instead of being a continuous force. Now, compare that to a computer screen, which also has a smallest possible unit of display, something called a picture element, but you probably know its shorter name, the pixel. Meaning, just like the pixel, our reality has a minimum resolution as well. All of that also comes on top of some other theories like loop quantum gravity, which literally suggests that space-time is pixelated, aka made up of a ton of very, very tiny loops that basically function like pixels and come together in a web to create reality. This is where things start to get ever weirder. I know. Let's go back to the idea of a programmer creating parameters for a piece of software. Those parameters help optimize the program so it doesn't use unnecessary processing power and can run smoothly and efficiently. For a virtual reality video game, a simulation, doing that means the program won't render, aka load, the entire world all at once. It'll only render the part of the world that a player is actively experiencing. This is essentially the age-old, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? Question. Well, science has a name for that, and it's called the observer effect. In short, this is a quantum phenomena where scientists have observed that observing, or watching, or measuring a system actually changes its state. Basically, this says that the core idea of the old wives' tale, a watch pot never boils, is actually real. The same concept extends outside the quantum realm to human nature itself, too. When people know they're being watched, they act differently. It's such a prominent difference that in psychology and behavioral studies, researchers have to use specific techniques like blind testing to help mitigate the changes and make sure the data they get is actually reliable. Oh, and remember how we mentioned Neil deGrasse Tyson earlier?
And you don't have to have all the world existing there at all times.
Right.
That might be an unrealistic amount of computing power.
Right.
You just need
enough of the world that they see around them.
That they see around them.
Right.
So you want to start digging, and
that's so funny.
And haven't put the Earth there. There's a flag that goes up in the programmer, and they say, need more Earth. So they put Earth beneath you while you can keep digging. Or does Minecraft, you can build
or
stuff?
Minecraft.
Right.
Oh, that is Minecraft.
Right, okay.
God, that guy's a brilliant genius.
Okay, hear me out. What if all of that is a possible explanation for all the weird phenomena going on in quantum physics, like quantum tunneling and entanglement, and then all the way up to the glitches in the matrix that we ourselves experience in real ways in our lives? Naturally, there are plenty of critiques to this theory. For one, gathering empirical evidence is challenging, to say the least. Plenty of scientists say that it's mathematically impossible, or physically impossible, or just totally impractical from a technical viewpoint. They also describe it as unfalsifiable, which in science basically means a theory that can't be empirically tested, but also can't be proven false, because it's structured to be able to align with all possible outcomes. In other words, impossible to verify, but impossible to disprove at the same time. On top of that, we also run into an issue called the infinite regress problem. Basically, this is a philosophical concept that describes a series of entities, but each one is dependent on the other. The trouble is, they form an infinite chain, but they have no starting point. Imagine for a second a line of dominoes that are in the process of falling. Except, in order for one to fall, it has to be hit and tipped over by the one before it, and so on. So, if there's no original falling domino to start the chain reaction, the rest cease to exist. The same is true with simulated universes. There has to be a base reality. Otherwise, you're left with the idea of simulated universes simulating other universes with no actual starting point, which wouldn't work for a bunch of reasons, and those aside, you'd also eventually run out of computing power to run those simulations to go on infinitely, and they'd start to degrade. Other physicists also bring up another issue. The sheer amount of computational power needed to simulate a complete and total universe like our own would be immense, to say the least. And I can't even imagine the energy required to run it. As if we all haven't heard enough about how AI data centers are sucking up massive amounts of power and physical space and cooling mechanisms as it is. I mean, seriously, have any of you looked at RAM prices lately? Yikes. Whether or not we are in a simulation, part of me wonders if that's not really the point. Maybe the issue is, does the meaning of it all disappear if the world we're in is a constructed reality? Do our experiences here still matter? Or maybe they matter even more, like the urban legend from the 1800s war between France and Spain, where two military generals decided the fate of a battle through a chess game, without actually sending their troops into battle, i.e., a simulation. The jury is out on whether that story is actually true, by the way, but you get the idea. Personally, I like Chalmers' perspective. The fact that we are here means that even if we are in a simulation, it's still a genuine reality of some kind. Simulated experiences are still real experiences, so our lives and everything they contain, memories, love, fear, life purpose, those still matter, even if the true nature of our universe isn't what it seems. But what do you think? Are we really living inside a simulation? How likely is it that we are? And if we are, what does that mean for us in our experience inside of it? I would love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments. And remember, this is just part 1. The second half of this discussion will go up next week, Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's all about the shockingly ancient history of questioning whether our reality is actually real, plus pop culture's take on it, and one surprising theory that offers up a possible answer to the question, if we are inside a simulation, what's on the other side? And if you have an idea for something you'd like to see a future episode on, let me know. And of course, if you enjoyed this deep dive into mysteries, myths, culture, and science, please take a second to like and share this video, And if you want to see more, subscribe. It really, really helps us get the word out about the show. Until next time, stay curious and stay legendary. Thank you.